Guys, you're more important than me, are you? You're just gonna block my view. Oh, thank you so much, miss.
Video blog.
Hey guys, this is Tim from Twice Circled, and welcome to episode 17 of the official Megaquarium video blog. Right, so today I am talking about food, this new food system I hinted at last week. I'm going to pause it there before anything else happens, quickly explain some stuff. So this is a new menu I've added. I'm calling it the item menu. And these things are a little bit different to everything else in the game. They aren't things that you place down, they're things that your staff use. They're generally just called items, and they're available from various things that you place in your aquarium. So for example, food is currently available from the food box, and equipment, actually, no, currently nothing is available from the equipment box, but it will be. Currently buckets are available from the tap. So that's generally how this kind of new thing works. So it's a bit different to everything else. And what also is different is you actually have this kind of stock. So this idea kind of in an imaginary stock room, you have this amount of each of these items. And they're stuff that your staff will either kind of like use temporarily. For example, the bucket. When you're finished with the bucket, that goes back in the stock room. But of course, two people can't use the bucket at the same time. Or there are things like the food here, which gets used up as you feed it to your animals. And just before anybody asks, these are all placeholder images for the food. So we're going to get some really cute 3D models made up, so like this will be like a little tin of pellets, this will be maybe a little box of frozen mussels, and then a little packet of seaweed, Nori. Anyway, so the way it works is you order these things in. So for example, we can click here to order in some pellets, and they don't arrive instantaneously. There's actually a bit of a delay. Now, the pellets will actually arrive at the end of today, because if you look over on the right, there's a little icon that means delay, and there's a delay of 0, so they come at the end of the day. But if you look at the mussels and the nori, they each have a delay of 1, so you have to plan a little bit ahead with these guys. Okay, so let me show you some more stuff. So what's going to happen is this staff member, currently holding nothing, they're going to walk to this food box and they're going to pick something up. Okay, so they've picked up some pellets, right? And now they're going to use these to feed our fish. Now, these icons are going to make more sense to you now. You probably saw them last week, but now what I've done is I've actually made it so it shows the item that is needed, instead of just showing a kind of generic feeding icon. So this actually means that these animals here are going to be fed, instead of pellets, which most things are fed, they're going to be fed mussels, or frozen mussels to be exact. And this isn't actually shown here yet. I need to kind of display it more. But this is really interesting, I think, because you can see that our staff member is going around and they're just feeding. They're currently doing all the pellets. In fact, they've just run out of pellets, and so what they're going to do is go grab some more. So we picked up another 10. So now if we go here, we're actually out of pellets. So, in fact, we should probably buy a bit more. Of course, this costs money. I've got loads of money, so I could just buy lots of this stuff, and I need to tweak the prices. It's very cheap at the moment, 5 for 10 of these. But bear in mind that each one pellet is basically eaten by a size 1 fish. So, as your things grow, they're going to eat more and more. So the food costs could get up. Oh, anyway, now the staff's grabbed some mussels, and they've grabbed all the mussels we had in stock, which was 6, and they're feeding there here. And then they fed everybody, so they don't have anything else to do. Now, something that I forgot to do actually is put down some taps. Because it's 4 o'clock, so it's almost the end of the day, but we might as well have this staff member actually do a little bit of cleaning up of these filters, because they're starting to get clogged, losing a bit of power. So if we watch this again, and we watch what's going on here, the staff member is going to actually go to the tap. They're going to pick up a bucket. You notice that the unused mussels that they had have actually gone back into stock, because they had 6, and actually there's only 2 little groupers, and they're both size 1 at the moment, so they only need one mussel each, 1 unit of mussel each. So we've actually, she didn't need to use all of the stuff that she picked up. But what I've got is that the staff automatically pick up the maximum they can hold, so that they can try to go to as many aquariums in a row. And there's some really interesting stuff here, because one thing you might have noticed actually, just I guess I'll let them do a little bit more. One thing you might have noticed is that the staff member came here, picked up some pellets, and then went all the way over to here, fed these guys, and then went all the way over here, fed these guys, and then came all the way back to do the mussels. And this is because the staff members are automatically optimized in their tasks, so that they'll keep using the item they currently have, which makes sense, right? Because it's less trips to the container. But you as a player might decide, well, actually no. And as we've shown before, what you can do is you could create Oh, that's weird. Okay, a little bit of a UI bug there, never mind. Let me just make a little note of that. So I'll get that fixed. But basically, you obviously, as I showed you in an earlier episode, you can create zones. And so what we could do is make it so this staff member only works in this zone. And then what they would have done is they would have done all the pellet feeding here. Then they would have actually put any pellets they didn't use back, grab the mussels, and then feed these guys. But of course, that only works if you have more than one staff. So you then have some other staff members doing the same over here. So I think this feeding thing, if you think about it, it actually adds a little bit to the staff management that we've already got in the game. And this is what I think is going to happen a lot with this, is as I add additional tasks for the staff to do, the existing mechanics we have in terms of like zoning and priorities are just going to get more and more interesting. And hopefully that means that the game will get more exciting and challenging as the game goes forward as well. Alright, cool. Now just before the game ends, I did want to make a couple of changes. One thing I wanted to just explain. You'll notice that actually this bucket got put back as soon as this staff member started doing the cleaning. So that might be something I should change, so maybe the bucket should get put back afterwards. But anyway, while the staff member was walking with the bucket, no one else could use it. And so I think that's interesting as well, in that you'll need to have a certain amount of, for example, buckets, which are very cheap, that doesn't really matter. But as you get more complicated equipment, what you might have is like a special cleaning tool, which is really, really quick, but they're very expensive. So if you only have one of them, only one of your staff members can use it at a time. And therefore, what you might want to do is have one staff member doing all your cleaning. Yeah, you see what I'm getting at now? Do you see how these mechanics start to interweave? And I know the gameplay's been pretty basic up until now, but hopefully you can see that it's going to get more interesting. And what I've been doing so far is really just coming up with this foundation. Now, before the day ends, actually, I think I kind of want to extend it a little bit. We've actually got quite a lot of points here. So I think I'd like to unlock these yellow tangs. This is actually an example of a fish that grows from a fry to an adolescent and then to an adult. It's interesting. It actually starts slightly bigger than the coral hind, but ends up the same size. Okay, so let's unlock the yellow tang. Now, the tang doesn't show it here, but it actually eats Nori. So we should probably order in some Nori. And then what I'm going to do is let's extend this out a little bit. Oh, I've made it a bit uneven. Never mind. And now, of course, the thing about the Nori is it's not going to actually turn up for a little while. So I shouldn't really buy some tangs yet, but I think I might just do it anyway, because I kind of want to. If you notice, like, it's getting really crowded up here, because I actually have a lot of people in my aquarium and they didn't really have much to do. So I could be making a lot more points. So I'm actually just going to let my guys not get fed for a turn. So let's get a nice big tank here, and let's put some tangs in there, a couple of tangs. They'll fill it once they're full. And well, they're colourful. So let's do this. What else do they have? Algae eaters. So I think, yeah, that's the new scenery I want to add with plants. But I guess let's just give them a rock for now. It's fine. Just increase the number of different things. Let's have a little look at them. Actually, the day's going to end. Okay. So, somebody actually in the comments, now I don't want to encourage this, right, but someone in the comments pointed out that before we had the pronoun incorrect, right? So it was, is that pronoun? No, that's not actually a pronoun, whatever that's called. It was a adult, which isn't wrong. It's meant to be an adult, so I fixed that. But I'm not encouraging you guys to nitpick my grammar, because like that is kind of late game stuff, like late development stuff. But given that someone did it, I thought I'd better fix it. And then we've got a few extra events now. Hopefully you can see how this event summary is going to get more and more useful. The delivery of pellets has arrived. We now got 44 in stock. We're running low on mussels. We only have 4 left in stock. And we've run out of Nori. Now, the reason it said this is because we've now got a fish that eats Nori. So it's automatically calculated that, which I think is pretty cool. How are we doing? So food. Now this is interesting. Yeah, food is actually how much you spend. It's not actually how much they eat each day. Not sure which way around I should do that. Strictly speaking, I kind of want to show like the actual amount that you lost. What I might have eventually is like a way of having like auto buy, so you can buy a certain amount per day. So you still have to manage your food. It's not like done it automatically for you. And if you mess it up, then you run out. For example, if your fish grow and you end up using more food each day, then you realize you don't update your auto buy, then he might run out, which is no good because then, you know, their health drops and they don't grow as fast. But yeah, currently obviously having to kind of click these manually might get a little bit infuriating in the long term. So I think I might have a special thing. Maybe if you right click on these, then it goes like +10 and then it's got like a little kind of circular recycle symbol, meaning kind of like it's going to stay here, like it won't get removed at the end of the day. And then I guess you could just manually add little bits to that as well, a bit like a production queue on a real-time strategy game. Anyway, so that's cool. Did I want to do anything else today? I probably am going to need another staff member, so yeah, we can actually do that tomorrow. That's fine. So what's the problem? I want to see 3 different decorations. I only saw 2. I want to see 2 hardy species, but I saw naught. Okay. Now that's because it got very crowded here, right? And someone actually mentioned in the comments, oh, it'd be cool if it got crowded and that was a thing. That totally is already a factor, okay? If there's too many people around and they can't kind of see a way through to the next kind of area, then you'll notice they just stand still. So you do have to build if you build your corridors 1 wide, I'm telling you, it'll be very slow, people moving through it. But if you know, 3 wide is quite good, 4 wide would be even better. But the reason no one saw any hardy species is the hardy species are at the back here, and I've put the clownfish at the front. So these give me more points, right? Lots of points, including prestige points, but they're not hardy, and people wanted to see some hardy species. So probably what we should do is actually move one of them over here, and move one of these over here, and move one of these here, and move one of these over here. Now bear in mind, moving fish around does reduce their health by a little bit, so you don't want to do it too often. Okay, so I think I was going to buy another staff member, someone who's good at cleaning, and it's Fred. So I think we'll make him focus on cleaning, and let's give him a zone. Like that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Actually, to be honest, if we're doing zones, then I should actually make them both feed, because it's more important that things get fed than things get cleaned. So you know what, Fred? You can just have cleaning. You can just have 1 and 1. In fact, let's go feeding 2, and Rachel, let's put feeding up to 2. Okay, so what's going to happen today? Oh, I need to order some more mussels. Right, so let's just buy extra. Let's just have lots, given that stuff's cheap. Okay, well that zoning has clearly not worked. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, I don't understand that at all. I think there might be an issue with the, like, I can't work out why, but the task from the last day seems to somehow get like has a hangover to the next day. I've been noticing this bug for ages and I just can't seem to fix it, because I swear at the end of the day I clear out all of the tasks, but I just swear that's what just happened again. I think she just went, because this this filter needed cleaning, and this is, oh sorry, this is interesting. Yeah, he's using the bucket, so she can't. Let's put one in. Let's put a big filter here, and so she's not doing anything, but she's, there we go, now she can get a bucket. So if you rewind the video, you might be able to see that. Basically, he got the bucket first, and she was just walking around doing nothing in her zone. But when he was finished with the bucket, she was able to do it. And what I do need to use is make sure is make the bucket actually be used the entire time they're at the pump, or even make it so they have to bring the bucket back to an equipment cupboard. That's what I'm going to do eventually, but I've currently got it very simple that items just get used up when you use them. Anyway, and of course the big issue here is that we've got no Nori, so these guys are going to go hungry, and we know they are. But you know, we got a load of extra points from people being able to walk up there. So our Nori's arrived, our pellets have arrived, but it's saying we're running low on pellets. Gosh. We only have 24 left in stock, which means that might not be enough to get us through tomorrow. And of course, you keep growing, you know, the sizes keep going up. And eventually what I'll have is, I've been talking about this for ages, I want like a fish summary, which shows a list of all of your fish. And then I think using that, you'll be able to, like, it will just have at the top the amount of each type of food they will eat. So it'll become easier to kind of manage this stuff. So it's kind of easy to find out how much fish they need, how much food they need. But you still have to keep on top of it, which I think is pretty useful. Okay, we went up in level again. Like the variety of decorations. The shoal of 2 clownfish was incredible. Yeah, I know, right, guys? And so let's buy some more pellets. Bucket's not going to turn up for another day. Anyway, so that's about it for today. I think we'll just see if the zoning is working. I believe it is. Let's just watch the... there we go. Look, look at this Nori. Using the first person mode. It's like completely flat. And then look, he's going to go put the Nori back. And then he's going to get some pellets. Let's, and you know what, to finish, let's just have a little look at our beautiful tangs. So these are, they like eating a lot of vegetable matter. What would be really cool is actually have it so you can actually add live algae into the tanks, and then they could actually eat that as their food instead. Oh, sorry, guys, you're more important than me, are you? You're just gonna block my view. Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. Thank you. All right, very busy aquarium, doing very well. Still got a bit of a problem with it. Can you see they're all just kind of walking around here? Need to get them up here. But yeah, more on that later. I've got all sorts of ideas to how to improve visitor flow and stuff, where maybe you could have like arrows on the floor, which kind of like give them a bit of momentum, push them this direction. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.